Good day and welcome to the Corporate Compass, your guide to the critical issue shaping the business world. I am Angelica.
And I'm RJ. Today we tackle a fundamental topic in every business, big or small, must confront ethical challenges.
That's right, Mr. RG. When we talk about ethical challenges in business, we're referring to a situation where a company faces a conflict between its financial goals and its moral or social obligation. It's the classic dilemma of profit versus principle.
These challenges are everywhere. They can involve how a company treats its employees, its impact on the environment, the safety of its product, or its transparency with the public. The decision made in these moments can define a company legacy for a better or a worse.
Today, we're moving from the theory to reality. We will investigate two major cases right here in the Philippines where ethical lines will blur with devastating consequences. We'll analyze what went wrong and explore what could have been done differently.
Our correspondents are standing by. First, we will look into a strategy that exposes several lapses in workplace safety, and then we'll examine the public health cases that shattered public trust. Stay with us.
Our first case is a tragic reminder of the human cost of negligence. In May 2015, a fire engulfed the Chemtex manufacturing factory in Valenzuela City, claiming the lives of 74 workers. We go now to our field reporter, Ms. Blissel, with the details. Blissel?
Thank you, Ms. Angelica. The Chemtex tragedy was more than an accident. Investigators call it a preventable disaster. The ethical issue is a blatant disregard for workers' safety in the pursuit of lower operational costs. The stakeholders were numerous: the factory workers and their families, who sought a livelihood, the Chemtex management, responsible for the safety, and government agencies like the Department of Labor and Employment, tasked with enforcing safety standards. Investigations reveal a factory that had virtual death trap. Windows were barred with iron grills. There are no proper fire exits. Flammable chemicals were stored improperly, and the fire alarm system was non-existent. The company had allegedly cut corners on basic safety measures to maximize profit.
A horrifying situation. To help us analyze the ethical breakdown, we're joined by business ethics analyst, Dr. Abad. Dr. Abad, what was the core failure here?
Thank you, Mr. RJ. The core ethical failure was treating human beings as instruments for profit. From a utilitarian perspective, the company's decision to ignore safety standards resulted in suffering that surpassed any financial gains, culminating in the tragic loss of 74 lives. From a deontological standpoint, the company breached its fundamental duty of care to its employee, failing catastrophically in its obligation to provide a safe working environment.
So, what would have been a more ethical course of action?
A truly ethical approach should have been proactive, not just compliant. Chemtex should have been developed a strong safety culture by implementing regular safety drill, fire suppression system, and clear exit paths, while also encouraging workers to report safety concerns safely. Additionally, there is need for stricter and transparent government enforcement, including an enhanced and incorruptible factory inspection to safeguard the workforce.
Thank you, Dr. Abad and Ms. Blissel, for that sobering report.
We move now to our second case, a public health issue that involved a global pharmaceutical giant in the Philippines government, leaving a deep scar on public trust. I'm talking about the Dinbashia vaccine controversy. We go to our reporter, Ms. Keisha.
Mr. RG? This was a crisis rooted in a failure of transparency and the ethical failure of do no harm. In 2016. The Philippine Department of Health, in partnership with manufacturer Sanofi Pasteur, launched a massive school-based immunization program using Dengvaxia, the world's first dengue vaccine. The primary stakeholders were the over 8,000 Filipino children who received the vaccine, their parents who trusted the program, the Department of Health who implemented it, the Sanofi Pasteur who produced the marketed the drug, the ethical bombshell dropped in late 2017. The Sanofi itself announced that the vaccine could lead to more severe cases of dengue in recipients who had never infected with the virus before. A condition known as seronegativity. This critical information was not made clear during the mass campaign, raising massive questions about informed consent.
A catastrophic oversight. For analysts, we turn to Professor Rica. Professor, where did the ethical decision making go wrong?
The ethical failure here are multi-layered. For the Sanofi posture, the primary issue was lack of full transparency. While they may have followed the regulatory procedures, the ethical duties to clearly and loudly communicate the potential risk to vulnerable population was not adequately met. They may prioritize market entry over the principles of precautionary care. For the Philippines government, the ethical challenge involved due diligence. Critics argue that program was rolled out too hastily and to massive scale without sufficient independent review of a long-term risk, especially for a seronegative population. This input expediency ahead of public safety and erode public trust in all vaccination programs for years to come.
What would an ethical alternative have looked like?
An ethical pathway have been one of the caution transparency. First, the Sanofi. They should have been insisted serostatus testing, checking for dengue infection before vaccination, or the very least made the rest for seronegative individuals for absolutely headline for their communication, not a footnote on their data. For government, a more ethical approach would have been smaller paced rollout and a robust monitoring and comprehensive information campaign to ensure the parents gave them fully informed consent. Public must be built on trust, and trust must be built on honesty.
Thank you, Professor Rica and Ms. Kisha.
Two vastly different cases, a factory fire and a public health crisis. Yet, they share a common, tragic theme. When ethical considerations are pushed aside for profit, speed, or convenience, the consequences can be irreversible, and the price is often paid by the most vulnerable.
The lessons from Kintex and Dengvaxia are clear. Ethical business is not a luxury, it is a necessity. It requires building a culture of safety, a commitment to transparency, and a genuine respect for all its stakeholders, employees, customers, and the community at large.
Ultimately, a company's most valuable asset isn't on its balance sheet. It is integrity. Have a great, thoughtful day ahead.